In fact, there we go. Think I'm unmuted at this point. Someone let me know uh, if they can hear me in the chat. Man, you guys aren't. There we go. Now you should be able to hear me. Okay, we're good now. We're good now. All right, so just disregard the first minute or so of this video. Had to switch some things to produce earlier, and of all things, I forget the unmute button on my mic. So classic. We've got a 3-game slate. Last night we'll go over. Boy, if you, man, you probably fared better than I did last night. So we'll just put it like that. We'll look at the numbers. We'll look at some people that had some success last night. We'll take a look at my. Well, you can just see the numbers I had last night. Pretty terrible. One of the worst nights of the season for me. So hopefully nowhere to go but up. But those kind of nights will surely shake your confidence a little bit. So, not going to change me for tonight. We'll see if I have a couple bad ones like that in a row. Tonight, tomorrow, this weekend, then yeah, maybe I need to adjust some things. But woof. So, anyways, hopefully you guys had some success. Again, we'll review the slate. We'll talk about tonight. It's not a super fun one in terms of like going through and figuring out matchups and stuff like that. It's pretty straightforward. We've got a couple guys of note returning. Max Domi for Montreal. We have Brendan Gallagher for Montreal as well. So I guess I'm just thinking of the Montreal guys. Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports is the presenting sponsor of the Osmo.com NHL DFS Strategy Show. They got their normal contests out for NHL today. Hopefully we see some bigger ones, especially on the bigger slates. Golf went off this afternoon, or actually I guess it was this morning for the Waste Management Open. NBA, soccer, they've got it all over on Yahoo. Lower management fees. You're going to see some fewer pros over there than what you're going to see on DraftKings and FanDuel. I see a few of you guys in the YouTube chat talking about having some success. Bink the $10 on DK because of Tampa 1, Vancouver 1 empty netters. So I went to sleep pretty early. There was a late slate. It wasn't going well. I thought, maybe if I go to sleep and just check my phone later than or earlier this morning, maybe I would turn it around. Knowing more likely it was not going to end up working out for me, and it did not. So congrats, Carrick, in YouTube chat. That's pretty cool. Always nice to take down a tournament. I don't know if that's your first win or whatever, but if so, that's really awesome. I felt fishy for not having some more Tampa Bay 1 in my MME builds. But yeah, congrats to you. That's pretty cool stuff. I saw the Vancouver 1 had a full line goal, and I guess that empty netter as well. So that sealed it for you. So we'll look at your lineup over on DK. Go play over on Yahoo. Promo code Osmo is how you get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points when you first sign up. I had Twitter up, the Osmo_com Twitter. If you want to see a couple of promos we got going on, here you go. Here's the Osmo.com Twitter page. And then want to point out this one we've got going on, promo code LIV, L-I-V, is how you get all access Osmo Plus Platinum monthly for just $54. That's you're saving $35, almost $36 off that for the first month. And then this deal is going to go away February 2nd, which is Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. So you've got until then to decide. But if you're thinking about it, there you go. A couple more days to pull the trigger and get $35 off your first month of everything on the site. So that will only exclude FC. You can buy FC as an additional add-on if you would like once you buy that package. Today, for free, we've got Osmo's player and stack rankings. Here we've got the players listed A through E, and then we've got stacks as well. So nice quick look at things. How's it going, Aaron? Normal, usual person in chat. It's going okay for me. It's going okay. In life, it's going well, but DFS last night recently, well, the last couple nights have not gone so hot. NFL single game showdown ownership projections. DK and FanDuel are running out some pretty huge contests. $1 million to first twice on DraftKings we've got this weekend. And then, obviously one is, what 99% of people will be playing in, and then, the other 1% are going to play in the $5,300. I think it's a $5,300 entry in showdown. So crazy that they're doing that for a 1-game slate. FanDuel is also running out $1 million to first. So opportunities to make some money if you're making some lineups today. Showdown single game ownership projections are free. Not playing any NFL, man, just enjoying the Super Bowl on a Sunday. I don't think I would watch the NFL if it weren't for DFS. So I don't know. Maybe that's a popular opinion. Maybe not. But I like playing DFS for it. I've had some success with Showdown recently. So maybe just running good, or maybe it's my calling. I'm not really sure. So use these ownership projections if you're not a premium member, because they're going to go away tomorrow. When we're going to give Tom Wilson credit, is today the day? I don't know. We've been playing a decent amount of Tom Wilson. Everyone max entering the office box pool. Yeah, I don't know. So DFS and Square, like Squares is, I don't really care about Squares. Like, I care about my DFS teams. I played some Showdown last year. I don't think it went particularly well, but hoping to have some good fortune and maybe even get a split for the $1 million. That would be the dream, right? Because there's no way I'm solo banking that. I'll take a split with like 10 or 12 other people. I'll settle for that, I suppose. I think most people would settle for that. Last night, 222. It was Reshi who took it down. Let's quick look at the 222. I think, I've got it pulled up right there. A bunch of single lineup people had some success in this tournament. So, like, more of the cashier builds ended up doing pretty well. McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, Muzzin, Kyle Turris, min salary. We talked about, like, no one really loves playing Turris, but when he's min salary and playing with two decent guys, last guy in your lineup type of thing, you understand how you get there. Ovi, don't really need much explaining there. Alec Martinez, I kind of missed out on that one. 16.2 DraftKings points. It's not like he binked anything for you, but he was, really good for that price, and definitely became a value once we found out that Doughty was out. So that's an adjustment I wish I would have made. Muzzin, 3,200, good price. I think he may have got the combo meal. Let's see what he ended up getting. 5 blocks, 5 shots on goal. That's pretty good. 1 assist, 25 DK points. That will do the trick for 3,200. Then Vasilevsky, LA takes a lot of shots, ends up getting the win. And good lineup all around. Edmonton power play stack. I had a bunch of these. Clefbaum killed me. Geez. It was not, I just couldn't get anything to line up, but congrats to Reshi there. Almost 10K in profit. Reshi in third? Wait a minute. Did we have another one where they took, I don't know, is this not right? It should be right. Unless the slate went too late or something and they pulled it before. Yeah, because I don't think these are right. Anyways, let's look at Testosterone's best lineup. Duchesne, Johansson, Granlund, Kucherov, Stamkos, Point, McDonough, and Muzzin. We've seen Testosterone play more guys that aren't on the top power play. Oh, is it wrong? Okay. I'll click on the actual contest, but yeah, 3-3. Basically the norm as far as what you're seeing from Testosterone, but used a couple guys that aren't on the power play. I don't know if he mixes that in on shorter slates, because last year I'm pretty sure it was only power play guys and mostly top power play guys that he was using. Let's check here. Okay, so this is you, Carrick. I'm assuming since you ended up winning this, Horvat, Eriksson, Pearson, Point, Stamkos, Kucherov, Martinez, and Muzzin, that duo that we saw over there. And then when we looked at Reshi's lineup, and then Markstrom, correlated goalie. So this is one I felt like I could have gotten to, and got nowhere close to this. So congrats. Good lineup construction. How many lineups did you actually end up running, if you don't mind me asking? Like, if this was a single bullet, then that's even more impressive. Bailey took the 222. Okay. So they must have pulled this too late. If we want to look at me, I'll show you guys quick what I did, because it is bad. Where am I even at? Yeah, I'm going to have to search for myself, because there's no way I'm in the top 100. Yeah, 123. I profited. I had the biggest losings actually in the tournament last night. It was that bad. So there you go. That's what happened. I cashed 10 out of my 141. My best lineup was, I did have a couple points Stamkos, Kucherov stacks. Just the complete wrong, not the complete wrong defenseman. Heiskanen wasn't terrible, 12.3. Got an assist there at the end. Carlson was a complete dud. Yeah, ouch, Jake. Yeah, not good. Not a fun one to sweat. I'm glad I did not stay up for these games, because that would have been pretty tilting. But on to the next slate. And yeah, if you guys want to see it here, I'll go to this quick. If we select everyone, you can see I had the biggest loss in that tournament. 10 out of 141. I don't even know if I could do that again if I tried. Oh, I could if I tried. I guess I could just put it in all zeros, but like actually making real lineups, I don't know that I'll cash under 10 lineups for the rest of the season if I do 141 or 150 or whatever it is. So 141 is the max. Maybe it's just my unlucky number. Pretty similar overall. It's pretty high on Washington 1, Edmonton 1. Just went heavier on Tampa 1. Yeah. So that was the leak. I mean, there were cheaper defensemen I could have played. I mean, we talked about Muzzin, talked about Alec Martinez, and a couple other guys. And yeah, there was a way to get to Tampa. I liked other spots better. I was super heavy on Edmonton power play, like their top, like my top, I would say 10 out of 20 lineups were Edmonton power play stacks. And so that was expensive. I didn't have the right defenseman. It was not good, but there you go. So that's the reality. Sometimes when you have me and you just whiff, take a nice big loss. Hoping to get it back tonight though. 3-game slate. All right, let's go to the games. Refire tonight. That's exactly right. We got to play as many slates as possible, and try to realize your edge in the long run. That's what we're all trying to do. But congrats again to Carrick. Good looking lineup. All right, Canadiens and the Buffalo Sabres. 3 implied total for both sides. Carey Price expected to go against Carter Hutton, and a couple changes on the Montreal side. I think I alluded to them at the beginning of the show. Max Domi back for Montreal. Did these lineups just change? Did someone just update these now? Because I swear I saw Domi with Armia and Kovalchuk earlier. So I wonder if something updated since the last time I looked at this, which was right before the show. But we will see. Good thing about this game for Montreal lines is you got a couple guys returning. Gallagher's going to go back to his rightful spot, I would have to imagine. Domi's played some center, some wing this season. So, who knows? He's listed as a wing. You'd like him to play wing if you're looking to play, if you're looking to play multiple lineups especially. It makes it easier to do 3-3s and full stacking and stuff. But it will make for a weird lineup construction if he does fall in to a center spot and you got a 3-wing line. Uh, on the Buffalo side, I'm not seeing a ton new. I did notice last game, though, and we're probably going to see this again. Um, Skinner did play a decent amount with Eichel and Sam Reinhart. Uh, it probably had more to do with the 7D more than anything. Like, guys just get mixed around, the forwards get mixed around, but Reinhart pretty much stuck with Eichel the whole game. So if you wanted to do something weird and play Eichel, Reinhart, and Skinner together, leave off Jurgensen. It doesn't look like the most correlated play, but you might see them take a few shifts, or who knows, maybe even a few more than a few if this game's not going Buffalo's way, if they need to generate some offense, especially towards the end. So that was kind of the one note I saw from Buffalo's last game. That's a golf chat. Okay, people talking about golf in the NHL chat. On the other side, now you've got this powerhouse Montreal one line, one of my favorite lines in the NHL. Their numbers are insane. Defensively, they're not elite or anything like that. Like, I don't think you need to avoid them like maybe you would a Boston one or something like that, but still decent, and offensively they're just so good at generating high quality chances with Gallagher back. That's a huge boost. I know they were decent, or they were solid with Kovalchuk, but you take Gallagher 100 times out of 100 on that line, fully correlated. It looks like their ownership's not out of hand. I thought maybe with Gallagher back, we would be projecting them for just like a ton of ownership. And it looks like we expect people to go more to the Arizona ones. The Devils have a pretty big total as well, and they're cheap. So I like Montreal one quite a bit. I mean, I just like them in general as a line. It looks like I'm overweight on pretty much everyone in that lineup, on that line. So Montreal one, actually one of the lines that I'm going to be overweight on for tonight. Eichel with Reinhart, I like a lot. I'm mixing in some 3-3s and 3-2s and power play stacks, short slate. So, you could probably get away with doing the testosterone 3-3 tonight. But on these shorter slates, correlation matters a little bit less. And I am going to force myself to at least make some 3-2-1s and see how they fare compared to the other lineups in terms of projection and ownership and just chance of being duped and all that stuff. So kind of running out a little bit of everything tonight rather than the normal 3-3 or 4-3-1 or whatever you want to call it. So Eichel Reinhart, I like as a duo. I'm not crazy about Buffalo overall. Like, I thought a couple nights ago when they were against Ottawa that you just kind of jam Eichel and whoever he correlates to, and that's how you start most of your lineups. We didn't have a ton of great top defensemen, and I think it was only a 2-game slate. Now with two other teams, price way up there for Eichel, 8,500. Reinhart priced up as well, and probably not getting a great matchup. I think Buffalo would probably be wise to avoid Eichel seeing major time against the Danault line. But then who else is going to go up against the Danault line, right? So I think these guys are just going to play a bunch against each other, just because they're going to play a lot of minutes, both of the top lines. So really it's Eichel, Reinhart, and Skinner are kind of the only guys that I'm targeting. Full stacks, it would be Buffalo one, but man, what else do you have after that? Like, I guess you could power play stack with Eichel, Reinhart, and Marcus Johansson, but man, that's brutal. So I'm on the Montreal side here, specifically the top line. Wherever Domi slots in, I'll try to mix in some full stacks, because I just think in general, if you're paying attention, you should want chaos to happen before lock. If you know what you're doing, whatever system you have, whether you're hand building or you're using an optimizer, if you can adjust quickly, other people either can't, or they're not going to take the time to check line rushes. They're not going to check their lineups. They're just going to set and forget. So I'm hoping we see some sort of weird lines for Montreal's middle six here. And if it is Suzuki, Kovalchuk, and Yoel Armia, then that's probably your secondary play going up against Buffalo depth. Domi and Lehkonen would be a nice two-man as well if they're together. So if we've got what's on the screen, it's mostly just secondary stuff outside of Montreal 1 in this game for me. And then, if you're playing, if you want to play Eichel one-off, be my guest. Like, I have Eichel as one of my higher exposed players on the slate. But some of that's just going to be an Eichel one-off, and that's really about it. My exposure is really flat for 3 gamers today. I'm planning on running at least 100 lineups. I'm probably just going to max the $10. I just feel like my 101st to 141st lineups are so bad, but we'll see. I probably just end up maxing that and get to the 141. I'm a secret Habs fan. I don't know. I mean, I play the Habs a lot, but I don't know. You could probably say that about a bunch of other teams too. You love Petrie. Yeah, Petrie's expensive. 5,700 here. Like, that seems a bit expensive to me, even though I like he's the guy you go to if you're playing Montreal 1, right? If you're just looking to get extra correlation on that power play. So, yeah, he's a fine play, but more of a guy I'm just getting to if I'm correlating. Like right now, I only have 8% of him if I played 141 lineups, the max. On the other side, Dahlin, 5,500. He got to almost 20 minutes last game, so maybe I was, much ado about nothing in terms of worrying about his minutes. They're probably rolling 7 defensemen again tonight. Some of these games he's playing 15 minutes, some of them he's playing 20. And on a short slate, maybe that's not the end of the world, but you're paying 5,500 for a guy that is live to have 15 or 16 minutes here. And I get that he's on the top power play, but that's really the only thing I think he's got going for him right now. So Arizona really struggling. Yeah, we'll get there in just a minute. Other defensemen in this game, it's hard for me to really recommend going to anyone on the Buffalo side. If you wanted to take one of these cheap guys, sure, but they're not super intriguing to me. And then same thing on the Montreal side. Shea Weber, 6,700. Maybe there's your pay up to be contrarian defenseman if you're stacking a couple mid-tier lines. But I'm not getting to a lot of Weber either. Buffalo does a decent job of slowing the pace down. So I don't understand why. Like, I know Buffalo isn't great, but I don't get the pricing for really anything in this game. So we'll see. I hope that one stays relatively quiet. Maybe a couple Montreal 1 goals, and that's really what I'm hoping for. Nashville and the New Jersey Devils, 3.3 implied total for the Preds, 2.8 for the Devils. Impressive road win last night for Nashville. They won in Washington after being down a couple goals. So kudos to them. Now they've got, maybe this is a letdown spot. I don't know, whatever narrative you want to go with. But you're getting New Jersey pretty popular on this slate. A lot more popular than I thought, specifically this top line. I don't know. I mean, 6K Coleman's not the most fun play. Like, it was fun to play Coleman when he was 4K. 6K, and probably not in the greatest matchup at 5-on-5. I think Nashville has a pretty good top 6 still. So playing full stacks here for the Devils is fine. But I'm not really crazy about it. And so that's why I like running 3-2 I like running 3-2-1s on this slate. I think there's a lot of good two-mans, Heischer and Palmieri. If you wanted to go Coleman and Gusev or something like that, on the Nashville side, or Hughes and maybe the top power play for the Devils. That's another way I'm playing some New Jersey. We'll get in a little bit different. I don't know what New Jersey is going to do for matching here, if they're going to try anything at all. Again, you've got a pretty balanced top six. So I can't even say, who's going to see the most time against the Zajac line. It's not a huge deal anyways. On the Nashville side, so I love Yossi per usual. Yossi's probably going to be my highest exposed guy in the slate. Right now he would be by a long shot, and that's with me being, pretty modest on the Predators tonight. Like the line I'm actually overweight on. Actually, I'm underweight on both lines. It's looking like at this moment, like I'm having a hard time getting to a ton of New Jersey at these ownership projections. Or I'm sorry, Nashville at these ownership projections. So yes, you've got your Arvidsson Forsberg duo. You can throw in Turris. His price jumped a little bit. Yossi's 8,100, but I think he's still like by far the best play. So pricing is really tight on this slate, but I don't know. I mean, I'm playing a bunch of $8,100 Yossi. If that makes me a fish, then that makes me a fish. He is the best play by a long shot. A couple, lackluster games he's had recently. I mean, who else are you playing, right? Like, not that you'd want to play Doughty, but Doughty's not on the slate. Yes, I get that Martinez is cheap, but that's not a decision you really need to make between Martinez and Yossi. I mean, I'm not an Oliver Ekman Larson guy. Like I said, Weber priced way up at 6,700. Petrie up to 5,700. You've got no one on Buffalo that really makes me super excited. So, like all these defensemen projecting pretty poor for us. And Yossi still projecting well in terms of value at 8,100. It's a pretty easy choice for me. So I'm all over Yossi. And I like this guy again, Sami Vatanen at 3,900. I will have some Subban lineups with my New Jersey stacks, but I prefer Vatanen at 3,900, and I think some people maybe will just go to Subban because of name recognition. They look to be pretty similarly owned, and with the pricing the way that it is, $900 does make a difference. And yeah, give me Vatanen again. I know I whiffed on this one yesterday. It'll probably be Subban this time. It was Severson was like one of the nut defensemen a couple nights ago when I was on Vatanen. Man, I have a weird thing with Vatanen lately. Like there's like nothing he does great. He's just kind of okay in a number of different categories. He's playing good minutes. That's also pushing him up for me. So not the highest upside guy, but like at least you're safe for 20, 22 minutes. Maybe he gets you the block shot bonus again. Maybe he gets you an assist or two. And for 3,900 on this slate, I think you could do a lot worse. So, I guess one of my, I can't say that I don't think you need to, I don't think it's responsible to play a ton of Yossi one-offs if you're not going to play a lot of Preds. So I'm guessing by the time the slate starts, I'm going to have more Nashville. Subban shooting one of the most shots for defensemen in January next to Yossi. Shot attempts or shots? I pay more attention to attempts. I don't know. Maybe some people are different, but Vatanen's actually attempting a decent amount of shots as well. Where was I at? I feel like I'm playing too many Yossi one-offs. Like if he's going to have a big game, it could be with goals. He could score 2 goals here. It's more likely with assists though. And like if he has a big game, you're probably seeing 3-4 goals out of the Preds. And on this slate, that easily could do it as far as the highest scoring team. Problem is you got 3 lines to choose from. Like, this is a spot where everybody probably likes Nashville 3. Let's see what we got. But, they're not that crazy. Looks like they're not that crazy hyped right now. So still decent ownership on Nashville 3. I like the tourist line, I think, again. Even though this line's also cheap, I like tourists with Forsberg and Arvidsson. I should not call it the tourist line. It should be called the Forsberg line, the Arvidsson line. So that I'm probably going to just manually boost them just because kind of betting on the talent. You're still getting a link to Yossi with Arvidsson on that top power play. Or you power play stack the Preds. Now I know that they don't have the greatest power play, but New Jersey does not have a good kill. So this one kind of stinks for forwards to try to parse through. There's not a ton of, I don't think there's great full line stacks in this game. So a lot of my exposure will be 2-mans plus a defenseman, or 2-mans, or just one-offs with maybe a couple of these defensemen. On the Nashville side, Nashville is on a back-to-back. On the Nashville side, outside of Yossi, you've got Fabro, who moved up last game, played 18 minutes. You could go right back to him at 3,100, or Ekholm, who's also playing huge minutes. He's at 5K. He just hasn't really done much in a lot of his minutes, so I'm not sure that he's warranting a 5K price tag, even though he's probably going to play a ton of minutes. I had a dream that Forsberg scored. Do I play him off of that? Sure, you absolutely could. I think Forsberg's a good bet to score against New Jersey more often than not. Back-to-backs don't bother me when playing DFS for hockey. They don't really bother me that much either. Like, if you're thinking about it, like, that's baked into the implied totals. That's baked into the lines and the total and the goalies and all that stuff that you get when you look at a Vegas line. So, like, I don't need to account for that 2 times, right? Okay, let's go to the last game on the slate. LA Kings, Arizona Coyotes, 2.4 implied total for the Kings. 3 for the Coyotes. Jack Campbell probably expected to go for the Kings, and then Aiden Hill for the Coyotes. He was confirmed. Let me check on this for the Kings. Yeah, Campbell is the projected starter. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. It was quick last night. Like I said, I ended up not watching a lot of hockey because it went pretty poorly. So this looks like a pretty, hit the like button. Thanks, Aaron. If you guys could, that would be great if you appreciate the show. If you want Cliffy and Nolan on here more, certainly understand it. But all you get is me today on these shorter slates. So if you could hit the like, that would be fantastic. Goes a long way for us. Arizona looks like they're going to be really popular, as they should be. You've got this line who's been really good. Hall, Dvorak, Garland, all in the top power play. You've got the Kings on the back-to-back. Seems like it sets up pretty well. Kings, Cliffy goat, yeah. Cliffy's goat. Kings played pretty well last night from like a Corsi perspective. I know that, we just joke that you don't get points for like creating high quality chances. You could get 1.5 or whatever, but ultimately you have to end up finishing. You have to score the goals. So the Kings are not great at finishing. They haven't been all season. They generate a bunch of shots and have trouble scoring. So in general, they're good for targeting. You target against them with goalies, right? But Aiden Hill is $8,100, and he projects pretty well for us, and that's really worrisome. Also, I'm a little bit worried that these Kings lines these last couple games have been pretty good. Lazat, Kempe, and Wagner. I know this is the third line for the Kings we're talking about. They are dirt cheap. I don't know that you need to go to them as a full stack or anything, but I like Kempe as a one-off for 2,800. He's on the top power play. It's not a great matchup, but he's probably going to see some of these depth lines for Arizona, which aren't really all that great. So the Kings' second line, Carter, Prokhorov, and Toffoli, that line, they were really good last night. They had, I think, 16 shot attempts to 3 against. Now, that's a one-game sample. You can't just take that to the bank. But I don't think the Kings' lines here are just going to be push-offs. So when that's the case, I'm usually just looking for, I don't think it's like an optimal matchup. I want to play the lines that I know are good. And Taylor Hall is good. You know that this line, Hall, Dvorak, Garland, has a sustained record of being very good at generating chances. So I'm not too worried about the Kopitar matchup with them. It's Arizona 1 by a mile for me on the Arizona side. But I think I'm going to be overweight on the Kings. Specifically that Carter line, Carter Toffoli. I like that two-man a ton. And they're just really not getting owned. I get there's low total, but I think they should be owned more as values. On the Arizona side, I want a ton of Taylor Hall and Dvorak. And Garland to some extent. He's $4,800, but he would probably be the guy that gets left off most often. And then I will still have, I'll still dabble with some Taylor Hall one-offs. I don't love one-offing guys, but definitely going to be doing that with Hall. Second line for Arizona projects well as a value for us. Let's see what we got him at. Arizona 2, DK value A, FanDuel value D, points grade C, but in terms of the slate, there's only 4 lines with A grades, right? So what percent of your lineups do you think end up being 3-3? That is a good question. I don't track that. Let me see. Man, just looking at this, looking through some of these, I'd say maybe 30%. 30%. Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair guess at this point. It might be 40%, it might be 20%. I'm not exactly sure, but I think I'm gonna have. It might be 50%. It's going to be pretty close to each other. If I had to guess, it's probably not going to be 20%. It'll be more than that. But yeah, I like mixing it around with both. Running 2 to 4 uniques, depending on what kind of crunches you're running. If you're a hand build guy, you can just ignore that. Build whatever you think the best lineup is. Don't on a slate like this, I don't think you just go in before you're building your lineups and say, all right, got to build a 3-3 tonight or a 4-3-1. I don't think that's necessary. For me, it's all right, let me build all these different styles, 4-3-1, 3-3, 3-2-1, power play stacks. There's tons of other stuff, 5-man power play stacks, whatever you want to do. And then look at your lineups after that, and if you have a way to grade them, great. If not, look through, and if one fits the salary cap perfectly on a slate with concentrated ownership like that, like tonight, if it fits perfectly, if it's all players that are, gonna be owned at 8% or above, then there's a good chance you're gonna be duped. So that's the kind of stuff I'm paying attention to. There's not necessarily a line or even a player outside of Yossi that doesn't really, or that is projecting way above the field for everyone else, for us. And so for me, I've got pretty even exposure across the board. Like I said, I need to get more Nashville. Like I can't play 70% Yossi and have 10% Nashville stacks. It just doesn't make sense. Because you still need a decent performance out of Yossi. Like if he gets you 14 points and he's a top 3 scoring defenseman, that's probably not even going to matter that much. Leave money on the table. Sometimes many thousands left over. Yeah, so I'll definitely do some of that. In fact, I did start looking at this before. Like, let's see, I've got lineups with 48,000, 49 to like 48.5 all over, like as some of my better lineups. Like 2 out of my top 4 lineups right now are $49,100. So yeah, that's definitely a decent way to play if you're playing a ton of different lineups like I am. I wouldn't go out of your way to say, all right, I'm leaving 2K on the table before you start building. But if you like something, if you're doing something like this, I don't even know. This is kind of the example I usually give. If you're doing something like this and it fits a little bit too perfectly, that doesn't even fit too perfectly. Who's another defenseman people are going to play? Subban and let's say you like Ekman Larson. Well, now I've got. Anyways, you get the idea. Like you're going to have to swap something off. And maybe your swap is from Subban not only down to Vatanen, but down to Severson at 3,400. And now you play a completely different defensive pair. Do you project Eichel as the best center? Usually he does. Yep. We've got Eichel as the best center. Stay away from New Jersey and you're different. I mean, so 20%, they're about 20%, their top line right now. That's not the end of the world on a 3-game slate. So my ownership projections, or our ownership projections, often mimic my exposure in that if the top stack is going to be 35% owned on a 3-game slate, like that's pretty significant. And you'll have 3-game slates like that. But if the top stack's going to be 20%, like I'm probably going to have way flatter exposure across, because those lineups with the 35% are not existing. Therefore, they're not being pushed down the rankings of my lineups once I crunch them out, if that makes sense. So with us having super flat expected ownership, I mean, Hill stands out, Eichel, Yossi, Taylor Hall, but those are only one. That's only one piece of the puzzle, right? You've got 9 other roster spots. No, 8 other roster spots to fill out after those guys, if you want off. Or if you put in a chalky full stack, like just make sure that it's a little bit different. Like I'll crunch out lineups like this where, but people are going to have these 6 forwards and then everyone's going to play the same defenseman, the same 3-4 defenseman plus goalie that fit in for that. So those are the kind of lineups I just try to avoid and kind of let the chips fall where they may. But if I had to choose one stack for tonight, I want to say it's Montreal 1. No, that's probably a lie. It's probably Arizona 1. It's probably Arizona 1 and Montreal 1. But that's what everyone's going to play, right? If I had to do a full 3-man, the guy I'm starting my lineups with the most is Yossi. So I feel weird not saying a Nashville stack too, because again, he's probably not going to score multiple goals. If he has a big game, there's a good chance that a line or at least a few players on Nashville's team do well. Hockey is a correlation sport. It's probably the biggest one we have. And so some correlation is still necessary, I think, on these short slates. No matter how often we see people with one-off lineups binking, like it's going to happen. But That doesn't mean that that's a successful long-term way to play, where you're playing one forward from all 6 of the teams tonight. Like if you can predict that in a large field tournament, like you should be probably doing something else. You should be playing the lottery or something like that. Unless you're just throwing your cash lineup into a tournament, that's a whole nother thing. Nashville can score 1 or 2 goals though, and Yossi might still be necessary. Right. So yeah, I'm not saying Yossi one-offs are bad. I'm saying, if I'm only stacking, like if I have 70% Yossi, I should probably be having Nashville skaters on, 30-40% of those lineups at least, even if I don't like a lot, like even if Nashville's not my favorite spot. Like it just, I shouldn't have 70% Yossi and 10% Nashville stacks. It seems pretty bad. It seems like not the right way to diversify your portfolio. Because yeah, I mean everyone's gonna have Yossi, but if he has 25 points, if he hits the 3-point bonus, you're probably screwed if you've got no Nashville stacks. And that's kind of currently what I have. So those will get boosted up. How do you feel about Montreal Buffalo game for GPP? I mean, it's pretty broad. I like Montreal won the best in that game, and then I'll keep a close eye on what happens with these lines. See where Domi slots in. If this is indeed true, if it's not, then I will react. So we have to have Yossi tonight. I mean, most of my lineups are going to have him. That doesn't mean that it's right. I mean, you guys saw what I did last night, so I'll have some of those nights. Just hope the good outweighs the bad in the long run. But yeah, that's the guy who I would have if I'm building one lineup. It would be Yossi, first guy to go in probably. At 8,100, I hope that price scares some people off, but it probably won't. It's not all that difficult to get to him. Okay, so that's really all I got for today as far as going through games and stuff. Not the most fun slate to grind through. Yossi's ownership projection just over 30%. There you go. Take advantage of our Super Bowl promotion. Platinum Monthly is only $54 with promo code LIVE. You've got a couple more days to figure out if you want to take advantage of that. If not, NHL Strategy is the promo code to get 50% off your first week of any Osmo Plus weekly package. NHL rankings, free today. Check those out. Showdown, single game ownership projections. I will be taking a long look at these on Sunday when making my Showdown lineups. Always use these. I just use the tools on the site for Showdown. I don't really use much intuition in Showdown NFL, and I've had some decent success. How much is the weekly package? Depends which one you want. So go to osmo.com/join. Here you go. Walk yourself through those prompts, and you can see the pricing. Start your membership. You can say how serious are you about DFS and do it for a hobby. Platinum weekly, $29.95. Only since you asked, though, Michael. Usually I don't go to the join page. Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports is the sponsor of the show. If you're looking to get into NHL DFS, if you stumbled across this stream, Yahoo would be a great place to start playing DFS. It's also a great place if you're a veteran. So I've been playing some over on Yahoo and having some decent success over there as well. They've got plus minus. They got 2 goalies. It's a different wrinkle. They've also got big NBA contests. It's with the CSV edit, you can have multiple entries. In NHL, it's not too difficult because they've got a lot of 3-max stuff, but they've got some stuff at all different stakes. So go check these out. $12 filling quite a bit. Probably a bunch of you jumping in there, so that's good to see. Promo code OSMO is how you get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. Does Yahoo take PayPal? That's a good question. I can't remember how I put in my funds, but yeah, just go to it. Just go to Yahoo. I can't link it in the chat, but they do take PayPal. Nice. Well, there you go. Always helpful in chat. Thank you guys for joining. If you could, go to our podcast feed, write a review, give us a rating. That would be very helpful. We'll probably have some more stuff coming up on that. We're trying to build our podcasting platform. And so if you could do that, if you like the stuff that we do, if you like the content, please, that would help us out a lot. All right. Nolan and I will be back for tomorrow. It is a 7-game slate. Oh, by the way, we do have a Super Bowl live stream extravaganza. Yes, Canadians can play on Yahoo. We do have a Super Bowl live stream extravaganza going on tomorrow. So if you like betting, if you like prop bets, weird stuff, Josh is going to have you covered with that. And Spags and Jordan Frank, I believe. But Laffy and Ben Raza will be hosting the show. Various guests. Osmo himself will be on to talk showdown. So there will be DFS and betting talk, props. I mean, you'll get everything. It's, I think, 2.5 hours long. So that is at noon Eastern tomorrow on the YouTube show. That is in lieu of the Osmo Odd show. So be sure to be around for that. Get in chat. Do whatever you have to do. Don't schedule your meetings for that time. You're going to want to watch that whole show. It will be on demand afterwards. So you'll see it on the YouTube show. But I think it'll be a pretty cool show to watch live. So I'll be trying to tune into as much of that as possible. Podcast on iTunes. Yep. Osmo.com. That's all you got to search. You can just search Osmo. Spotify. We're on Stitcher. SoundCloud. Let's see. What else is there? CastBox. We're on there. We're on everything pretty much. And if we're not, let me know. And I'll try to get us on there. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. Hit me up. My Twitter handle is above me. Hit me up in DMs if you want to talk or you want to ask me stuff. I'll be around or in premium Slack. Good luck. See you tomorrow.